Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to this edition of the new entry series for the last day in July, July 31st, 2011. Now first of all, before I start this, I want to give a shout out to Tom Blabber, I think that's his name, or could be pronouncing it wrong, who, many of you who may subscribe to this guy know that he's been putting up these vids, if you will, on the Golden Books volumes and all that, from the Golden Book videos, all the volumes and all that. And I want to give him a shout out because recently, as of yesterday I believe, or today, I can't really recall, I have to look at the date again, he said about a week ago or so that he was going to be posting the animated segments from the Secret Adventures live action animated series, which aired throughout the in the mid 90s on Family Channel, which is now known as ABC Family. And at first, I'll tell you this, I thought he meant that he was going to do it individually, but to his credit, he actually put all 8 animated segments together, which is kind of crazy, you know what I mean? Some of the animated segments are about 2 minutes, maybe a little longer, but they're very good. Once you watch them, they're pretty cool. Now, again, I want to give a shout out to him. You know, I'll put possibly a link to his channel here, but he packaged them all together as one set. It's kind of something that, well, let's put it this way: if whoever the people were that brought out McGee and Me on DVD finally, if they're the same people that did Secret Adventures and they decided to bring out Secret Adventures, it'd be kind of like maybe saying, okay, we have all the episodes along with the animated segments intact, but as bonus features, you know, possibly for a future DVD release, if one's ever done, that as one of the bonus features, they would put the animated segments together. That's the way I would look at it, or at least separate, or whatever. You know, keep them intact in the episodes, but then have them as their own individual feature. And again, if you've not seen these animated segments, and you're probably wondering why the heck are they so important to the show, basically, to give a little insight on it, these animated adventures basically take place during the middle, kind of mostly in the middle, sometimes at the beginning, and sometimes towards the end of an episode, but mostly in the middle, where she's a lot older now, I'll tell you that, but at the time, the 13-year-old Drea Thomas, as she's portrayed on television, I guess has this magical gift, if you will, to where she takes her 2 babysitting charges, the 2 kids that she babysits, who ironically are the children, are the son and daughter of her junior high principal or middle school principal. She takes them on these animated adventures where they become all sorts of mammals and animals. And the list is just endless. You know, I think in the first episode they become fish, like the young boy becomes a puffer, the young girl becomes a goldfish, and Drea herself becomes a dolphin. And then I think the second one, they become dogs, 2 small dogs, and you know, 1 big dog, and then they become jungle animals like a monkey and a giraffe, and Drea becomes the giraffe, and you know, the little boy and little girl become elephant and monkey, and then they become penguins, skunks, caterpillars, mice. You know, the list just goes on and on. And again, these are very, very good segments that you have to watch for yourself to see what I mean. And again, I want to give a shout out to him for doing that, and I think myself and anybody else that's has gotten interested in this series and has become a fan of the series will really enjoy these. And if you're me and you have a program like, say, the YouTube downloader, possibly, if you're me, I would definitely, like I would definitely download them. And if you have Real Player or something like that, I would definitely burn them to CD, to VCD. I'd make a VCD out of them or whatever. So, but definitely worth a watch, because I think you'll enjoy them. But again, getting to the reason for this video, the entry series, and this weekend, or should I say this past week overall. Now, a lot of you probably saw my video where I asked the question, has this ever happened to you? And you probably, some of you probably watched it and were wondering what I meant by asking that question. Well, for some of you that don't know, this past week, for some unknown reasons and for some unjustified reasons, our pastor was relieved of his duties as our church's pastor. And then later on this past week, about, I think, not last night, but the other night, Friday night, we find out through the email that our associate pastor has also been relieved of his duties. Now, I haven't really gotten any more information about this, but I have my thoughts and everything on it. And again, you can watch the video if you want to, but it's been a very trying week for our church and anybody that we've known that's been close to the pastor like we have, because honestly, no one saw this coming, really. I mean, the signs were there. The signs were there. There was just an atmosphere in the air that was not a good atmosphere, and it was just, we knew something was happening, something was up, and well, surprisingly, this is what it was. And one of the things we did find out was that they had been asking, the elders, if you will, of our church had been asking for our pastor's resignation, or well, you get the idea. Resignation from the church as its pastor. And one of the reasons they said that they wanted him gone was because they didn't like the fact that he was going out and befriending the community. And what that means is he was doing something that obviously a lot of pastors would do if they could, and they probably do, and they don't get in trouble for it. But he went out to the community and, as he put it, planted seeds for people to come to church and come to Christ. So obviously they didn't like that. They didn't like the upright basketball thing we were doing for the youth. The main thing was the pastor. If you're going to be a pastor of a church, you need to focus on the church people instead of, going out to the community and saying, hey, come on in, and doing this and doing that. Your main focus to them is supposed to be the church, which a lot of people have agreed is not right. If you're going to be a pastor, you're going to be a follower of God, a follower of Jesus. You got to go out and you got to spread the word, and you got to create more followers. You got to bring in more followers. And apparently they didn't like it. So I don't know exactly what the head of Stadia said today at church, but it obviously made somebody cry and all that. So they, so after we met at my pastor's house, at the pastor's house this morning, we left, and that person came in, and I guess they told him what was going on or something. I don't really know. And what was ironic about today was my mom took my 3-year-old nephew in the truck with her. And at first my 7-year-old nephew didn't want to go, and then I guess, wanted to show his dominance and say, hey, I should go too. Ooh, well, I should get the same treatment or whatever. He wants to go. So what happens is, instead of riding with my mom like she was offering him, he decides he wants to walk down there with me. And what surprises him is that it's a long walk, because our house is sort of like at the beginning of what is known as the ranch, if you will, and his house is like towards the end. So we walk all the way there, have our little fellowship, and then I get a ride back by his son, and my nephew rides back with my mom and my other nephew. And then we get home, and all heck breaks loose. Basically what it was is that yesterday, or today is my brother-in-law's, one of my brother-in-law's birthdays. The brother-in-law is married to my second oldest sister, and he's turned 36 today. And what happened yesterday is that we took all the kids in. Originally it was just going to be my 16-year-old and 3-year-old nephew, but my niece was going through some personal issues and just needed a break away from the family, from the home, from her boyfriend's family, who she's living with as well. So she takes herself and my nephew, and my great nephew, and they come here. They spend the night. And because she's supposed to watch my 7-year-old nephew, he comes here and spends the night. So we have them all. Now at first it's great because everybody's here, all the nephews and kids are here. And then today, like I say, all hell breaks loose because the kids are just out of control. Except for the 16-year-old nephew. But some of the other kids are sort of out of control. And that's all I'm going to say on it. Thankfully they settled down. The 2-year-old settled down for a nap, and everybody else settled down, but it was just chaotic at times. So pray that that doesn't happen again. So my niece went home first, then my nephew. Then recently, just about an hour or so, going on about 50 minutes ago, my mom took my 2 other nephews back to Modesto so they can be home for their dad's birthday today. I would have gone, but I just felt, honestly, I just want some peace right now. I just want some peace right now. I mean, because here's the thing, I always knew eventually something like this was going to happen, but my nephew, my 16-year-old nephew, likes to be a mischief maker. And he borrowed my iPod just to look something up because his was acting up on him a little bit. In other words, wasn't completely ready to be charged, basically completely dead before it charged again. So he borrows mine, and then I guess because of the fact that I was looking at stuff that I shouldn't have, he knows I forgot to erase it off of my iPod, off my Safari part of it, and he shows it to my niece, and they get a kick out of it. But surprisingly, my niece and even him have no problem with it because they know, hey, I'm a young man, I'm a bachelor, it's just the way things are. And so basically that was the only thing. So basically that was why I kind of want a little peace right now, because I don't want to have to deal. I just want to have a little time to myself, kind of rest a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But overall, that's what happened this past weekend, these past 24 hours and past week. So again, with my church, we don't really know what's really going on. Probably have to find out later on and see what's going on. We're going to be meeting up this Wednesday again for Male Fellowship, so we'll see what's going on there. And yeah, that's really about it. Not really much going on besides that. And again, giving a shout out to Tom Blabber, I think that's his name. I'll put his link down here, his channel link down here in the description box. Thank him for putting down the Secret Adventures animated segments. And that's all I'm going to say, and I'll talk to y'all later. And that's all for this edition of the new entry series for the last day of July, July 31st, 2011. God bless and have a good day.